Hi, Jonathan with Iron Mind Hypnosis. Johnny Dupre asked me to record my thoughts on charisma for those who are burning the candle at both ends. People who are working maybe multiple jobs or just a lot of overtime. People who are basically burnt out, tired, trying to find enough sleep to get by, and still want to be charismatic in some way. Now, first off, I will say that a little bit of imposter syndrome came up, going, geez, I'm not sure if I'm the right person to talk about that. But I went ahead and started noting my thoughts, and I realized I had a whole page full of thoughts. And well, here's me trying to put it as nice and usable for you as I can. I've got 5 thoughts. Now, you can use these in any order or just whatever works for you. If only one kind of fits the bill for your specific life, that's fine. Use that. You'll probably find some value. But if you're living a life where maybe you've got more than one job, maybe you're a gig worker, you're working multiple gigs, maybe you've got a day job and a side hustle, maybe you're working your way through school, maybe it's 2 full-time jobs. Uh, Lots of people find different ways to make everything work, and maybe it's more traditional. It's you've got one job and there's just a lot of overtime, or you're on call in some way, or it's between family obligations or school obligations or some other obligation. Your time is sopped up. You're trying to balance time for sleep. I certainly know what that's about. I found myself looking back at my Fitbit record some while back, and I realized that I consistently was getting 4 hours of sleep. Now I've improved that massively, but that was a project actually for me to improve that. So if you're short on sleep, uh, know that I know I know what that's about. Now, if you're short on sleep and you do want to be more charismatic, you want to enjoy the benefits of being more charismatic, having charismatic interactions, and just being good to people around you. Well, I think I've got some things that might help. Now, the first one is to learn stuff. Now, if you're watching this, you've got some of that in you because you've clicked on this video and you're absorbing new things, new ideas. But it doesn't have to be practical stuff. It doesn't have to be useful utilitarian stuff on how you can solve a problem or something related to your job or jobs. That's all wonderful, and I encourage you to do that. But just be interested in stuff that's going on. Now, it could be that you spend all your time watching movies. Frankly, if you're watching this video, uh, you're probably not in the leisure set where you're spending lots of time watching movies, but maybe that's your job for some reason, and more power to you. But whatever it is you have a chance to interact with, learn as much as you can. Now, if you're in a job where there's things to learn in the job per se, like it takes your attention, learn as much as you can about the weird stuff that goes on in your job. Whether that's just knowing, maybe it's you're out and about on the road, and it's maybe knowing your city. Every little bit of attention you can put on that is something else that you've learned. Maybe it's learning something about the if you're customer facing the customers you face. Just engage them in as much conversation as you can. Get as much out of them as you can. Now that's a bit for later as well. But wherever you are, just bring your attention to whatever it is you're doing, so that you can you can gain something that you can tuck in the back of your mind for later. The second tip I've got is to geek out. Now, it doesn't matter what your interests are. If you're interested in it, there is going to be somebody else on planet Earth who's interested in it too. There's 8 billion people. Somebody else is going to care about it, even if it's a really rare thing where it's one in a million that another person cares about this thing. There's still 1,000 people who care about that. Now, it's it's true that not everybody is going to care about what you geek out about, and that's fine. Uh, that's no reason not to geek out about it. Now, you don't have to talk endlessly about it if people aren't interested. You can bring up your enthusiasm for whatever it is, and if people don't care, that's fine. People don't care. Now, it doesn't matter if it is popular culture, a very common thing for people to geek out about. Maybe it's comic books or Marvel movies or some other action flick. You can be incredibly involved in any of these things and get much more out of what everybody's already doing than the average person does, and that's fantastic. So when you talk with folks, you can talk about, hey, this, you remember this little scene that everybody saw it in the movie, right? You remember this little scene? This was actually teasing. This was an Easter egg for this other thing. And if you get into really geeking out about movies, that can be a great way to have more to talk about. But maybe you're a books person. Now, if you like books, maybe people have read your books. That's fantastic. You can talk about pet theories of what's going on or explanations for what's going on in this book or this series, and maybe where the author's going, or have you read the most recent book? That's all great. But maybe they've never read your favorite book or your favorite author at all. That's still okay. That's still actually perfect, because you can tell them why you care about that. Now, if you're super busy, it may seem absolutely impossible to find time to learn things or geek out about things. And I get that. Now, you're going to want to the extent that you can, find places where you can use the resources you do have. If you find yourself where you don't have people to interact with, and it doesn't take your full concentration, this might be the place for a podcast, an audiobook, or listening to YouTube going on in the background. Just things to bathe your mind in ideas, concepts, information. And that's all wonderful stuff. Now, if you've got the ability to unwind, and you want to unwind by learning more things or relaxing with a story, that's a great thing to do. If at the end of your day you want to, read an article or a book, novel, novella, whichever, that's fine. If you want to pick up a graphic novel, perfect too. Whatever way you wind down. Now, if it's entirely possible, by the way, that you're living a life where you don't get wind down time, it's as soon as you're off duty, you're immediately in bed, or maybe you would feel it was extremely lucky if you had a bed and you're crashed out on a cot or in a chair or car seat or something like that. Maybe even the idea of cushions on the floor seem like a luxury to you because life is nuts. That's fine. Wherever you can fit whatever kind of learning or things you're interested in, do that. And there's a couple of reasons to do that. One, it makes your life more fun if you're enjoying your life. Two, if you find yourself in a conversation with somebody, you're going to be much more interesting when you talk about what it is you're geeking out about. And if you've learned factual information, things that are practically useful, so much the better. That's fantastic, because practical information is something that you can share with other people that will possibly actually make their life better. Maybe it makes them money. Maybe it saves them effort. Shows them a new, better way to do things. Helps them get along with their family or their partner better. Depending on what it is, it could help any part of their life. But you won't be able to help them if you don't know it. And being a resource, being the human dictionary or Wikipedia or whichever it is a great thing to be for the people around you. Now, if that's not you, That's fine. If you want to be the person who's whatever your thing is, that's the point. Now, I don't want to just ramble on those 2 points forever. When my third tip is to say hi to everyone. Now, this can be your coworkers. Say hi. If you pass them in the hall, give them a greeting. It can be super low key. It can be much lower key than that. It could be a nod. You go the up nod or the down nod, either which. It could be a little bit of eye contact. Now, I personally like to notch it up a little bit. There's something to be said for being as low key as possible. I know Marcus Oakey is one for engaging charismatically with as low key as possible. I, for one, like to step it up a little bit with a little bit larger gesture that lets people know just a little bit more energy is being used on their behalf. And it's fine if you're tired. Usually you have to be pretty tired not to be able to do one of these things. And it's fine if you are. You don't have to be charismatic guy all the time. That's perfectly fine. Just every time that you do a little bit extra, put a big smile on your face and wave at somebody well, that's another thing that's beautiful in this world that wasn't there before. So every time you do that, that's great. If you can do it every time, so much the better. But whenever you can, just reach out like that. One other thing that you can do, this is tip number 4, is small gestures. Now, depending on what your skill set is and how busy you are in actual, what's going on, you might find that different things work for you. If you've got a baking skill set or cooking or something like that, you might find yourself bringing in something you've baked for people to share in the office. Maybe you pick something up at the store because you don't have that skill set. That's okay too. And incidentally, there's a lot you can do from a box if you're baking, but maybe that's not your skill set or not your interest at all. There's lots of other things you can do. If you see somebody having a hard day, just that little extra, hey, it looks like you're struggling a little bit, or hey, it looks like things are going a little rough or a little sideways. Just a little bit of recognition of what's going on for them. Hey, I think I'm hearing frustration in your voice. You sound angry. What's going on? Hey, just checking in with people. And it's possible that you don't have time. You usually have time to just like, hey, I hear you're going through it. And I got another meeting, so I got to roll. Or somebody needs me, I got to roll. There's an emergency, I got to roll. And if you find time later, you just check back in. That's a really touching thing to do, is to notice that something's going sideways for somebody and check back in, even if it's hours or maybe a day or two later. Now, don't check back in months later if it's a small thing that they've probably forgotten about. Probably not worth it. But if it looked like they were having a tough time and you just check in a few hours later, something like that, that can really let people know that you care about what's going on for them. That's kind of charismatic, actually. One other idea that I've got, kind of my 5th tip, is try to start conversations. Now, there's all these people around you. Usually, if it's coworkers you're with, that's fantastic. Start just a little bit longer conversation than you would have had. Now, let me put it this way: if you would have had no conversation, give just any little bit of, hey, like, how's it going? What's, just a little. These can be completely practiced, like the what's called phatic speech. It's the, hi, how's it going? My day is doing nice. Lovely weather we're having. The small talk sort of stuff, right? It can be that really, really, really rote stuff, and that's fine. Now, if there's somebody you would have been, hey, like, how's it go? That low level stuff. See if you can make it go just a little bit longer or just in a little bit different direction. Just play around with it a little bit. Now, not everybody wants to talk, and that's fine. But give them a couple of chances to say no. And they don't have to say no. They can just like be on there. They can be doing whatever their thing is. And they can be, scrolling on their thing and not want to, let them give you a couple of no answers, a couple of they don't really, short answers, they're not really engaging. That's fine. Just give them a couple of chances. Because maybe, just maybe, they want to have a conversation far more urgently than you do even. Maybe somebody having a real conversation with them is in person, especially, is something that they haven't had in a while. So give it a shot. As Marcus Oki says, if nobody notices, nobody cares, you don't lose any lives, in like a video game metaphor. You can try and say hi. You can try and engage somebody in a conversation. If they don't notice you, then they didn't notice you. Nothing happened. It's fine. You can try a little bit bigger. And if they still don't notice you, that's fine. And what you try is going to depend on what you're comfortable and what your context is. Try just a little bit more than you would have done before thinking of this. And that'll be enough. If a month from now it's a little bit more still, that's great. The trick is each one of these things that you do builds through time. And I've given you 5 things so as that you can have a hope of remembering your favorites. Again, learning stuff is great. If it's useful stuff, fantastic. You can use that to serve, to help people you care about, or just random people that encounter your life. Geek out about stuff. That geeking out about something is a great way to learn it, capture it even faster. Now, it doesn't have to be practical, useful stuff you geek out about. You can geek out about anime or your favorite book or whatever the thing is for you. It could be hard sciences or it could be soft, fluffy art stuff. That's fine. Whatever you geek out about it. And you can talk about it. That's so much the better. If you can share it, maybe it's something, if it's art, for example, if you can share a quick sketch on a Post-it note with somebody, they might be more touched by that than they will ever let on. Just saying. Say hi to everybody. If you already said hi to folks, try to bring it just a little bit more. But give everybody a wave. If you're not close enough to say hi, give them a wave. If you're close enough to say hi, perfect. Do fun small gestures, whatever works for you. Whether that's a gift of a tiny like chocolate or something like that for folks that you see having a hard day. Whether that's hey, I've got a minute, let me go run grab you lunch, or preferably like if you're in a tight budget situation, make them pay for the lunch, but you go get it. But do something nice for folks, whatever it is. It can be as small as just taking an extra few seconds for them, or it can be something big. But make sure that whatever you do, you can do it from like a genuine place. It's not a challenge for you. It's you going a little bit extra, but it doesn't hurt you. It's something still fun for you, right? And number 5, just try to get everybody in a conversation. Now you can set that as a greeting where you wouldn't have had a greeting. You could go to small talk if you would normally stopped at a basic greeting, and you can set yourself, hey, I'm going to have a 20-second conversation, just real small. It's entirely possible that maybe your the thing you're working on is you get into long conversations and you actually want back out. That's fine too. That can be the challenge you set for yourself, but just stretch a little bit, however little bit that is for you, in whichever direction is for you. Whatever you do, don't stretch so much that it becomes a thing. And it becomes a thing that you get scared or stressed or fearful or anxious about. Don't let that happen. Just a little bit of stretch, a minor challenge. And when you do it, you just, oh yeah, I did that. That's fine. I hope you have a wonderful day. Take care.